Now that my sprite is working, something to notice. When I go up, I can go outside the screen, right? And we want to control that. We don't want to be able to go outside of the screen. We can fix that. We're going to add another object, and we're going to call this one object wall. And we're going to add an animation to it. I'm going to choose this one right here. As long as it's a block and it's semi-small, we'll be okay. And then I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to create some zones to stop the player from going outside of my screen. So I'm going to bring this object over, and it's ginormous. I'm going to make it smaller because I don't like ginormous. And I can see that I need to turn on my mask and my grid. So I can get it to snap properly. And now that I've kind of shrunk it up, I'm gonna stretch it across. And you'll notice that I stretch it beyond the lines here. These lines here they're representative of the screen that we're programming for. And in this case, it's 800 pixels across and 600 pixels down. I wanna make sure when I do my block the appropriate pixels. So I want it outside of the screen. And I'm just gonna do this all the way around with my blocks. All right, almost done. Okay, so now I've put a wall all the way around my player here. And now I just need to program some collision events in here so it knows what to do once it collides with that wall. And so I'm gonna head over to the events page and I'm gonna add a new event in here. And this new event is gonna be when player collides with something. So I'm gonna click on player and then I'm gonna find collision and then I'm gonna choose the wall. Hit OK. And then when they collide, we're gonna have them separate the two objects. So that way it hits, but it kind of moves it back the other way each time it hits. And so I'm gonna choose the player, separate two objects. And I know I'm player, so I'm gonna choose wall and then hit OK. And now whenever they collide, they'll separate. So we can check them. And on the computer, you'll notice that I see this line right here. That's because in this instance, it's assuming the game is this big. That's 800 by 600 pixels, which isn't quite right. It's stretching it. But it's not the correct aspect ratio to get the whole screen. So this is technically should not be visible. But with our limitations of the online software it is. But you'll notice that my player no longer goes outside the screen. Okay. We're gonna wanna fire a missile from our player to the enemy. We want that enemy or that missile to generate itself right at the player. So we're gonna add a new event. Whenever the space bar is released, so we don't want to press and then have a whole bunch pop up. We want it when it releases, so only one missile will pop up. Conditions, keyboard, key released, space, with a space bar. And then when that is released, we are going to create an object missile. So we're going to click on object missile and we're going to create an object. And then we need to tell it where we want the object to be created. We want the object to be created at the player's XY coordinate. So wherever the player is being moved, whenever space gets hit, we want a missile. We want a missile to be created right at that XY point. So we're gonna choose common expressions for all object and position and X position of the player. And then we're gonna do the same thing. Common expression for all objects, position, Y position. We're gonna choose the player. And then we want the base layer, so we're gonna leave that empty. Now we're gonna create a missile at that location. So let's go ahead and test that. So as I'm moving around, I hit the space key and all of a sudden I have a bunch of missiles. However, they're pointing the wrong way. I want them to go up because we're making a a shooter. So let's fix that. No, we're gonna add a new action in this event here, and we're gonna rotate that once, okay? So we're gonna add an action for the object missile. Yeah, rotate towards angle. Oh my goodness. So we know it's pointing right now at 0, and we need to go up. So we're gonna choose 90, which is gonna produce a strange effect for us. And I'm gonna put in 0 because I want it to be immediate. My missile is upside down. So because we know 90 means that the bottom is considered the top, then we need to do something opposite in order to get it to go all the way to get it to rotate up. So we're gonna look at this, and we're gonna change this rotation instead of being 90, because it was here. 90 made it go here, so we need to go the opposite direction. So let's do. So 90 made the bottom go up. We need the bottom to go down. Let's try 180. And let's see what happens. Uh-oh. So bottom was over here, and then at 90 it went up here, then at 180 it went here. So in order to get it to go here, 270. So I'm not getting the result I want, but I keep testing. That's the point here, to keep testing to see what I want. Missile pointing up, okay? So something else I'm noticing, that missile is kind of off kilter here now, and so I can actually change the positioning of this missile around the player. So I could go back here to the position. Right now it's creating that missile bottom down, so this corner right here, so it's hard to see, this corner is actually being tied into this corner up here, and then when we rotate it, it's rotating down. But I might want this a little more central to the player, so I can go in here and put in that I want it to put that point instead of just in that upper left hand corner. Maybe I want to go from center, so I can put in center here, and I can put in center over here, which now changes the location of which that's gonna be created. So right now it's down here, and then if I go do another window and I hit space, it moved the creation of this corner to the center here, and then we rotated it, so it moved down here, right? And now you can see the difference between the two, right? This one moved down here, and this one was more up here. So you can do math in this area right here, so I could continue to edit this. Maybe I don't want it at center. Maybe I want it at plus X. You know, maybe I want to take the center and then move it over to the left. So maybe I want to do minus 200 on both to move it to the left on the X, and then move it up. So maybe I want to take center and I want to add 200 to it. So doing math inside here will move that rocket around. So you notice that the rocket now was way over here and has moved over. So I can control exactly where this rocket pops in by doing math within this player center, or this player area here. And so right now I know this corner, it was up here, been rotated down to here, then we subtracted 200 this way and 200 this way. Now the next thing we do is when that space key is released, we don't want a static missile, we want a missile to shoot up, right? And so we're also gonna add a force in here. And so we're gonna click on the missile and we're gonna add a force, and we know we want it to go in the up direction, which is Y, so we're gonna have 0 speed in the X, but we know it's in the negative direction. And I can put in any speed I want in here, say 50, but whatever I wanna do, I wanna make it permanent. So when I put that speed on there, it's always going up. So I'm gonna click on permanent, hit OK, and now I can test this again. So when I release, my missile flies up, right? That was awfully slow. So I might play with this. Choose different numbers in here to make it go more a speed that I want it to go. And Yeah, so that's better. Is now that I've got my speed right, as that missile is flying up, as soon as it hits the end of the screen, it's still being calculated by the game forever, for infinity. And we don't want to spend processing power, time, or energy calculating that missile after it goes off the screen, because it doesn't do anything for us. So we want to go and add the behavior to the missile of destroy on the outside of the screen. So I'm going to go to the missile, click on my behaviors, add a behavior, and destroy when outside of the screen. So now when my missile goes out of the screen, boom, gone.